Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the January 16th, 2024 City of Kingston Planning Board meeting. We'll begin with introductions. My name is Wayne Platt. We also have members Charles Palaco, Robert Jacobson, Matt Gillis, Vince Archer, Sage Newkirk, Andrew Harris. And we have Suzanne Cahill, who's the planning director, Kyla Dede is the assistant planner, and Matthew Jankowski is the Assistant Corporation Counsel. A few housekeeping notes first. They ask everybody to silence their cell phones at this time. If you need to have a conversation, you can take it up to the council chambers. If there's an emergency, we have to exit the building. We're going to use the staircase to the lower level and exit out through the doors and use the elevator. And restrooms are across the council chambers to the other side. So if you have to read that. Item number one is the adoption of the December 18th, 2023 Planning Board meeting minutes and transcripts. Everybody's had an opportunity to take a look at them. Any questions, comments, deletions, or additions on them? Okay, seeing none, at this time I'll make a motion that we adopt it. Do I have a second? Second by Charles Palaco. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. All right, moving on to public hearings. Item number 2 is 106 West Chestnut Street. It's a special permit to operate a boarding house. Section blocking lot is 56.34-11-22. Secret determination, zone T3N.
Joe, that's probably broken.
Oh. It's in the heritage area, coastal zone, Ward 9, Chestnut Hill, NY Incorporated is the applicant owner. Is there anybody from the audience wishing to speak on item number 2? Could you state your name for the record, please, and your address?
John Hutton, 203 West Chestnut.
Okay.
And actually Walter Hutton, if you want to be precise.
Okay.
So this has been going on for a little bit. So if people, so they do know, I actually grew up in that house for my first, I think, 8 years, something like that. But I don't really remember a lot about it. But just to clear the air, I did, and I actually knew Joe when I was younger. So I actually feel uncomfortable speaking. So as I say these things, and I apologize if I'm being redundant because this has been going on for a long time. So I do apologize if I do say things that's already been covered. So I'm of the volition that I really don't feel like this place should be shut down. But I do think it needs to follow the ordinances, or whatever the real term is for it. It needs to follow what has been put out there by the city of Kingston, and how business should be run, at least that type of business. All right, so more of it, when it gets as crowded as it is, now there is a safety concern for both tenants and neighbors. Okay, you don't live there, but you know, I've walked the streets at night and I've heard noise coming, loud. If I lived right next door, it would really bother me, especially if I had kids and wanted them to go to sleep. So these are nuisance issues that occurs when the place is as crowded as it is. So supposedly it's supposed to be 12. Then last year I'm hearing there's like 39 people there, and that was hops, and there was some, we got approved for that for a while, okay, I guess. But then at this last meeting, I hear there's like 45 people he admits are in there now. So, you know, following the rules is not something that he does on his own. And I don't know what the checks and balances are to follow these up. List of people there, who can check that? They say there's somebody there 24/7. Can you knock on the door anytime and find out who's in charge? I don't know, I've never tried. Okay? So these are some issues that I wonder if Kingston has the right to just show up unannounced to check on things. Another thing that I'm trying to remember from that, with 40 people, and I don't know what the law is for New York State or Ulster County, but bathrooms. How many bathrooms are there? I know I saw on the plans there's like 4, but are they all full baths? They say full baths, but do they have sink, toilet, shower? Okay, and so these are like issues. Now there's so many people there. The pool that's advertised from the street, it doesn't look as nice as the picture on the website. Does anybody follow that up can people find if that water quality, can it be checked? I know Ulster County, they randomly just go in and check pools, not private residences. When it's a boarding house, is it considered a private residence? I don't know. Okay. So I did see something, it was Massachusetts. It said 1 full bath for every 8 persons. So at 40 people, how many baths does that require then? If New York had the same. And I personally think a bath for 8 people, 1 bath. I'm living in a house with 1 bath and there's 3 people and it's not easy. So these are safety issues for the tenants, especially if they have issues. That's basically all. You guys got to handle what you got to handle, and hopefully I brought up some points that you haven't heard 100 times. And I'm done.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hunt. Anybody else wishing to speak on item number 2? Okay. Okay, the applicant is here. Can you gentlemen state your names for the record, please?
Thomas Benatti, I'm the attorney for Chestnut Hill, NYU.
Joe Sanji, 106 West Chestnut Street.
Welcome. So since our last meeting, you have submitted some documents to the planning office. Do you want to speak to that right now?
Yeah, I submitted everything that was requested at the last meeting. Updated operations plan to include a pest management plan, house rules, floor plan, the EAF form, and the engineer report as far as the fires.
Okay.
I also submitted a letter that I'd like to be put in the record.
Okay.
Oh, you have it, or you know.
That's already been made
Okay.
part of the record,
Thank you.
and posted as well as all the other information as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so it's your intention to have the number of residents exceed what the current zoning code allows? Is that still?
The prior zoning code also had the same number, and
That number has not changed?
that number has not changed. And this board has recognized the 1 person per 50 square feet of floor space on 3 to 4 occasions already. And originally granting a special use permit and then renewing it 3 times.
All right, I'm informed that there were 3 inspections that were looking to have been performed by the building department in September, 2 in September of last year and 1 in October, and the applicant denied entry to the building safety staff during those inspection attempts. Can you speak to that?
With respect to this application, there was just an inspection, I think, a week or two ago. The court in front of, in the state Supreme Court, we let Judge Schreiber know that we would have the premises available to any inspectors. He said to have an inspection done within a week. However, it took a few months for the city to go over there and do an inspection, but it's available whenever they want to come in.
Do we have a- I have a copy of that inspection.
There was inspections in early January. There were some sanitary code violations that you were notified of.
No.
The sewer.
I was never notified of anything.
First we're hearing about it.
First time.
I've been asking, actually, Matt Jankowski, I've been asking if there's been any violations. Crickets, nobody tells us anything.
They left the building without even an exit interview. They didn't give me the form to sign. They just, when it came in, went down in the basement, right out the front door.
We have it all on video, they didn't do it, they went to one place, they didn't inspect the whole
They
place.
went to one place, took a picture, and said, we got what we need, and left.
There was a communication from Building Safety, January 5th, 2024, that went to Chestnut Hill, New York, Inc. at 106 West Chestnut. It speaks to
Never,
Well,
was
I'd love
a
to see a copy of
violation
it.
notice
We
of
don't have a
order to
copy.
remedy.
never got it.
Building department sent it. There's copies of it.
Been asking for that since that inspection.
I called down, left a message, and I think sent an email down there asking if there was any violations. Never heard of it.
There's that, and then there was also. Yeah. We pulled up municipal complaint summary. One was Matt Martino. It was a brief walkthrough of the inspection. They noted violations still remaining on masonry columns, electrical wiring, no permit or licensed electrician, basement, makeshift closet with stove inside. So there's a series of things from Matt Martino, and then Josh was the other complaint summary, Josh Tinkin, who is the plumbing inspector, and that was the one with the violation notice. He issued this, which is sanitary. That.
Is it dated inspection?
Never got it.
They were early January 5th is the letter.
I don't know how you want me to address this. I mean, you showed this to me at the day of the hearing. You easily could email this to me if you had it. We never got a copy of this. And we've been asking, I've been asking for this ever since the day of the inspection.
You asking specifically,
I said, if there are any violations, please let us know so we can address it.
with the same board, or was this?
Every time I see you, this is, and Mr. Sanji went to the building department?
You didn't ask for it today when I saw you.
No, I
You
did not.
didn't ask for it last week when I saw you, or at the hearing.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to do, because you're giving this to me now at the hearing.
Well, what, is he?
Is this how the board does business? Really?
Yeah, the question, I believe, that you were asked was about the refusal to allow inspections in September and October.
Yeah, and I said, with respect to the, I mean, come on, it's just ridiculous. What do you want me to do with this? Please, somebody speak.
Well, I'm just learning of this letter right now.
So am I.
So,
So is my
well,
client.
I mean, we've had an email on these things, but I did not know that you had not received a copy.
Was this mail?
That's from the bill, that's a
No,
copy
was
from
this
the
mailed
building
to me?
department,
Do
so
you know if it was mailed to me?
it didn't come out of my department. It went from the building department. We got a copy, we pulled a copy off of the city software system. So I'm presuming it was mailed, but that would be the building department.
I'm the only person that gets the mail. I didn't receive it. And I called down there and left a message for
Who did you leave a message with?
Steve Knox. And I explained to him that they came in, they were supposed to do an inspection. Both 2 or 3 inspections before I made appointments, they didn't show up. And then this inspection was the 3rd time and they did show up. They came in, they went down to the basement, they took a picture, they said, we got what we need, and went right out the front door. No exit interview, nothing. So I called Steve that day and I said, I need to know if there's any violation. Now, when they came into the property, I said, we are going to be videotaping everything. And anything you find that's a violation, we want you to point out in the video and tell us what the remedy is. Tell us what the violation is and tell us what the remedy is. And they said, Martino said, we can't do that. And I said, okay, go ahead and continue with your inspection. Like I said, they went down to the basement, looked at a few things, took a picture. Matt Martino turned and said to the guy, we got what we need. And then they went upstairs and went right out the front door. Never came to say one word to me. I then picked up the phone, called Steve Knox and left him a message. Please call me if there's any violations at all I want to be made aware of.
I can't speak to that. It's not my department.
Maybe you guys should have the building department here when these meetings go on.
It looks like they're doing a reinspection on February 5th. This says.
As far as the pool, I know you had that question. Joe, I had sent you an email about the county health department, that it does need to be permitted. Have you done that? Have you reached out to the individual? I gave you the name and the
Yes,
phone number.
Laura Bell at the Ulster County Health Department.
Okay, so what's going on with that?
I spoke to her. She sent me the regs. The regs appear to be for public and community pools, certainly not for residential pools. That pool was built in 2019 with a building permit for a residential setting. I told her that I would pass the pool regs on to my attorney. He would review.
So is she making you apply for a permit? When I spoke to her, I explained what the use of the property was. She said that it needed a permit.
She said
She told me that she
Yeah, she
felt
didn't
that it
say-
needed a permit, and I asked her if I could give you her name and number. And she said yes, and
we
so,
left off with her sending me the regs to give to my attorney.
okay, so,
I mean, I looked at the regulations and I didn't see anything special about it.
There isn't anything in the regs that says boarding.
Oh, your discussion with her made you come away from that discussion with
Yes.
the feeling that it was not a residential pool, that it needed to
Correct.
be.
it's not a single-family residential pool. It is.
Is there a violation from the health department that I'm unaware of?
There is-
Well, this is probably the first time that they're hearing of that. They don't catch
Well,
everything.
obviously, Ms. Kay had that conversation with the health department earlier.
Well, we talked about it at the last meeting, and I said that we questioned whether or not a permit was needed for anything on the property, and I said that I would reach out to the health department, which is what I did. And when after speaking with them, I passed that information on to you, so.
I
that was
also find it very
my-
interesting that the one resident that speaks up today talks about the two issues this board is talking about, the pool and the occupancy.
The pool has been an issue with neighbors before tonight, so this is not something you.
First-
What? Wait, yeah,
It was
first I'm
discussed
hearing
last
too.
month.
Okay.
It
But when was it
discussed
an
last
issue with
month.
neighbors? There was never a violation or
Well,
any
yeah,
matter.
4 or 5 hearings during the last special.
We're not saying it's a violation. We're not saying it's a violation.
Well, what are you saying?
Up until
They're
now,
asking that is brought to your attention, what has been done regarding.
I answered that. I answered that.
but from Sue's discussions with Laura Berg from the health department, leads us to believe that this is a pool that is operating outside of a normal residential type setting that would require periodic monitoring.
There's nothing in the regs about a boarding home. There's nothing in the state regs.
I'll contact the health department.
Thank you. So is there a plan in place, since the last permit was denied? I know that this continues to operate unlawfully. Is there a plan to vacate the property at this time, or is there,
The
is
plan
that
is to
not?
get a special use permit, that's the plan.
Because this has been operating illegally from that moment through today.
Yeah, the city brought a lawsuit in the state Supreme Court.
So there's
We're
no-
addressing that there.
So there's no plan to find alternate housing now for,
Well, I guess that would depend on how Judge Schreiber rules.
so that the answer is no right now?
I said that would guess, it would depend on how Judge Schreiber rules.
Okay.
That's why we're here now, to get a permit.
Okay.
So we're not operating without a permit. Listen, we have no delusions here that this board's gonna grant the permit. We know what's going on here. You insult our intelligence to think that you're operating without the intent to close this place down at any and all cost. So do what you have to do. Have the meeting, do what you gotta do, and we'll take it from there.
Well, this is a new application,
I understand.
okay? And, you know, even though you said you stated that you have not received a copy of the inspection,
We did.
we have a copy of it as well now. You have one. There are some violations that currently remain. Okay, I know there's a follow-up inspection in February scheduled, but as of today, there's still violations that remain.
It looks like one violation. Sanitary sewer pipe, which is what you had your plumber fixed already. Because he went down there after the inspector left, he saw what they took a picture of. He had his plumber come in, his plumber said, oh, this has to be repaired, and it repaired, it's done. So we'll wait for the inspection to come. Do what they say.
Is there a reason you just didn't call the building department and say it's been repaired? Can you verify? I'm just saying, you know, it could have resolved,
Sanji
things
and
taken
I-
care of, but by.
Mr. Sanji and I went, after we went to the criminal court case that the city brought against Mr. Sanji, we walked right over to the building department after that, and we spoke to Stephen Knox. Stephen Knox said he came to speak to us. And he said, if we get any violations, it's not gonna come from them. So the fact that he said he mailed this is surprising.
Well, he didn't, we pulled that off of the city's software. I mean, that's posted on it, so we pulled that down and then asked about it. They said,
Well,
yes.
he said
that
he
was
wouldn't even speak to us
violation.
about violations, so that's why we're hearing about this now.
So you didn't have a building permit to do the plumbing work?
I don't think you need a building permit to change out a fitting.
I think you do.
No, you don't, not a repair.
With reference to your operations plan, um, can you talk to the issue of the full-time manager? Do you have somebody managing full-time over there?
What would you like to know? He lives there.
He's an occupant, is he a tenant of yours there?
Yes. He's lived there for many, many years.
Is that part of the?
Yeah, you have his name and his phone number.
The current code,
I know what the current code states about whether a manager can live there, but that's not really legal. The planning board doesn't have the authority to tell a company who they can hire, who they can't hire to be the manager, and whether they live there or not. That exceeds the planning
planning
board.
board has to enforce and abide by what the code says.
Correct, and I said, do whatever you gotta do, we'll deal with that, because I think
The code reads that
that's beyond the police power of the city to
a
even
full-time
pass an
manager
ordinance.
shall be defined as the property owner that lives on the property or another individual that is not a resident of the primary building.
Again, that has nothing to do with the health, safety, and welfare of the
That
community.
is.
It's beyond this board's authority. You have to understand, the planning board has the authority to set conditions. If that authority is not unlimited, okay? You can't venture into the operation of the business.
And you have your legal argument, which he's reciting as the statute.
I understand it's an ordinance, and that's why I said, you gotta do with respect to that, we'll address it in appropriate form.
Just that,
Well,
in the operations plan, does it describe if there's any other employees?
you are allowed to set conditions on the zoning of the property, not the operation of the building.
Well, the operations plan is the aspect of the code. And in speaking to your operations plan, it states key staff in point one. Who are key staff?
Hey,
Just you and
The
the
building.
other individual?
the people in the building oversee everything. They
The
oversee-
staff is the building manager, Mr. Sandy.
Right.
Okay. And as, if you're considering him your full-time manager, what qualifications, I mean, does he come with?
He's lived there for 5 years,
Okay,
so that qualifies.
Again, the board cannot
I'm
get
just,
into who he hires and their
I'm
experience.
speaking.
That has nothing to
the
do with your
language
authority.
of the code. Do you think that one individual, one resident manager is suitable for the number of persons residing there and has the capacity to oversee the 45 individuals that you said were there last month?
Yes.
So the code, the city code, we're talking about the residents being managers of the property. Does the code not recognize that a resident can be a manager of the property? Is that what the code is saying?
The code says that full-time, read it to you. At all times when the premises is in use as a boarding house, a qualified full-time manager shall be available 24/7 to provide support services. Full-time manager shall be defined as the property owner that lives on the property or another individual that is not a resident of the primary building.
So it's either the owner or a resident who's not,
A resident,
an
an individual. who's not a
individual is not a resident. I understand what you're saying.
You have my position on it. We'll deal with that at the Article
I
78.
got your position.
I clearly think this is unconstitutional, way beyond the police power of the city to enact that.
Right, so we're still at odds over the number of residents that will be allowed to.
Again, you have my position on that. I made it part of the record. You do what you gotta do.
Okay. Which would require you to go before the zoning board to,
We already have a variance from the zoning board.
we're talking about the current code.
The zoning variance doesn't change when you change the code.
Well,
Is it your position that the variance addresses how many individuals?
You have my argument,
The building?
okay? You have our position. Okay, this board has already recognized that variance allowed him to exceed the 12 or 15-person limit on 4 occasions. Okay, so you do what you have to now, and we'll deal with that.
I have some questions in looking at the landlord guest agreement that has been updated and was just submitted. It says that the tenants are asked to volunteer. If they refuse to volunteer, are they, I mean, is that an absolute requirement? They have to volunteer or they can't be a resident of the premises or,
No, it's keyword there is volunteer.
okay. Okay. Um, but there's a volunteer statement, so it says, okay, they do not, so they're not considered the staff then. So it's because it says volunteer statement clearly identifies the volunteers do not work for Mr. Sanji and therefore are not staff referred to in the landlord guest agreement. And so staff is used in several sections of the landlord guest agreement where staff does all the cleaning and all of that. So who,
right,
so staff that does the
maybe-
cleaning, are they the volunteers?
Yeah, let me, maybe I can paint a really clear picture for you. In a perfect world, everyone who lives there would volunteer and would do things. And part of the volunteering would be keeping an eye on the property, making sure everything is clean, enforcing all the rules in that, I think it's an 11 or 14-page document. That would be in a perfect world. Because of the population that I deal with, there are people that will volunteer on Monday and on Tuesday not do what they need to do. And on Wednesday, they may volunteer again, and then 2 weeks from now, they may not want to do it anymore. That doesn't mean that they can't live there, it doesn't mean that we don't want them to live there. So as many people as we can get that volunteer, it causes things to run better and smoother. Like the way a large family would work, that's what this is. This is a group home, and it's considered a family in a residential setting.
And then there's just another discrepancy that I found where it says that you don't provide or prepare food for the guests in section 8, yet there's the mandatory participation form that speaks to what I feel is where you do prepare, because it says breakfast normally includes eggs to order, sausage, dinner offer such items. So it talks to a mandatory use of EBT money or cash monthly by residents. So if an individual didn't want to participate, so you are preparing food. You have,
They are preparing food.
okay,
So what that's saying is to the new guy who comes in, does not live there, we're not preparing your food. Don't expect me to come out from behind my desk and prepare your food. You guys prepare your own food. So they prepare their own food, and they also purchase their own food through the food stamp program.
so, you also speak to training them on equipment. So who does the training? So you do the training, so you train every resident on the premises to work in the kitchen so that they all know how to use all of the.
Or a vacuum cleaner, or a washing machine.
I'm just so.
Or
so
toilet
there-
brush.
Is there a certain group of people that would normally prepare the food for the others, or they all prepare their own food?
No, there's people that are trained in the kitchen and how to use the kitchen equipment, the slicer, commercial stove, et cetera, and only those people work in the kitchen.
So they prepare for all of the
Yes.
residents?
For their fellow members of their family.
Okay. In terms of space, so I'm thinking with the number of individuals and the space that is available for seating, I mean, they work that out, they rotate,
All the meals last 2 hours, so they have 2 hours to come in, sit down, and have dinner or breakfast.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all same.
Well, yes.
Okay.
Sue, are there photos of the interior that I can see?
I'm sorry?
Are there photos of the interior? Because I've never seen the inside. I mean, I've seen the drawings of the
We
layout.
don't, I don't
There's a
have any
website.
photos.
We've seen that, but not photos of the interior of the building.
No, I'm saying it's on his website.
If you go on the website, you can freeze it and look at any picture you want.
What's the website?
ChestnutHill106.com.
So looking at the, just want some clarity on the previous permit that was approved. That was for a maximum of 38 persons, correct?
Correct.
Actually, the special use permit that was approved last time didn't have any number in there. It just said occupancy limits will comply with all New York State codes. Doesn't have a number.
It's based on the floor plans that were submitted.
Yeah, it's 50 square feet per person.
There was numbers of occupants per room on the prior.
I'm looking at it. I have it right here. There's no number. If you could find it, please show me.
It was in the secret documents too, I believe.
So
Yes,
our position is that the maximum for the previous permit was set at 38, correct?
correct.
And then there are currently 45 people residing in the property.
You're saying the resolution for the last special use permit
No, it's not.
dated April 2019 had a number on it? Unless I can't read English anymore, there's no number of occupants on it. It says occupancy limits shall comply with relevant New York State codes. And in my letter, I address what relevant codes apply to occupancy.
Yeah, so we're saying that it's based on the secret document and the floor plans that were submitted. That's our position.
Where's the number? We're supposed to get that through divine intervention here? I mean, where's the number? Does the board specify things, conditions that aren't in the resolution? Is that what you're saying?
So then the new application is for 48 persons in the main house and 6 in the cottage. Is that-
The new application is for 50 square feet per person, and we gave you the floor plan. I haven't done the
The
math.
legend, I gave the floor plan, and the legend to the floor plan says the square footage for each bedroom, and then the legend says each bedroom will comply with the New York State occupancy code. So if, for example, if a bedroom measured 200 square feet, it would allow for the maximum of 4 people. I may have 3 people in there today, but 4 would be allowed under New York State law. If the bedroom
Just so we
measured,
have it on record here, the New York State Property Maintenance Code, section 404.4.1 states that a bedroom may be occupied by one person for every 50 square feet of floor area. That's the code that we're talking about.
So it's your position that if your application is approved, you can have as many people as you want, as long as it's complying with that code?
Well, you could put whatever restrictions you want. I'm just saying, he's talking about what the last permit said, and I'm reading to you what the last permit said. Okay? So if you want to put different restrictions in, let us know.
That's done, not there yet.
Yeah.
We're talking about the new application.
Yeah, in the new application, you're looking for 48 persons in the main house and 6 in the cottage building. That's the position.
I didn't put a number like that.
Well, we
That
did
is-
the math.
On the
Based
floor
on the
plan,
floor plan
you
that
put
you
so many
submitted.
people per room, so that's.
No, I
the
put
total.
maximum capacity
Right,
according
and
to the
that's-
law.
And that's the number that he is.
Okay, yeah, I didn't do the math on the.
Okay, so whatever the maximum
That's the
capacity
number,
according
that's the
to New
number.
York State law
Yes.
would be what the permit would be.
Right now, the capacity is frozen as per Judge Schreiber's order. Whatever the register was we gave to Corporation Council.
So then in our position, because this is a new application, it says 10 bedrooms and 12 people maximum. That's going to be our position.
I understand your position.
Okay.
I don't think
I'm
it
just
says,
trying to get-
I don't think it says 10 bedrooms.
No, he's talking about
The new code.
the code.
The new code.
Oh.
For this
Well, the
application.
old code was the same thing.
Okay,
I understand your position.
yeah, okay.
And just to clarify, you did write the number of beds in
Yes.
each room.
Well, I think Ms. Cahill asked us to do that at the last hearing.
Right, so we added those beds up and came up with 48 beds.
Okay.
How is staff viewing the floor plan submission? Is that,
Well, it is a hand-drawn document. It does not show any furniture positioning. I don't know if the board wants to pursue that. It has dimensions. I can't verify those dimensions. There's no scale, so.
I did show it on the screen.
One question I do have, actually, that the first floor just popped up. There is a statement that the first floor bathroom is not available for tenants. That's employee only. In the, I think I want to say, where did I see that? It'd have been in the landlord guest agreement. And I just wanted to ask if that is the case. It says, number 12, the downstairs bathroom is for employee use only. So I'm
It
assuming
means
that's
for the
the
people that
first
work-
floor is the downstairs bathroom?
Well, no, it's used, they use that for hand sanitary reasons, for the staff to wash their hands, et cetera. For the people that work in the kitchen.
So, but it says employee use only. So is that full bath not available for the
No,
tenants?
they are able to use it.
Okay, so then that would mean that 12 needs to be struck from here. Okay, I just wanted to ask that question. All right. I mean, I don't know how the board feels about these drawings, if you feel that they're adequate, you think that they should be, more detailed. Doesn't show, like I said, there's no furniture placement, there's no, I can't verify dimensions without a scale. Up to the board.
There are any plans on file with building that show what the house dimensions are to compare this to? No.
Well, the floor plan. The floor plan will show it in general, not just walls. No windows, doors, things like that would typically be shown. Any members have comments or questions?
I got some questions. I wanted to go on executive
What,
section, topic.
is
Is that
there,
a problem?
well, you'd have to state the, purpose, under the open meetings law as to, what the purpose of the executive session is. Is it, regarding pending litigation? Is it something of that nature? That is a purpose. If it's merely just to discuss issues not related to litigation, but just related to the determination here, that really isn't a valid purpose.
Regarding the, I don't mean to take that away from you, regarding the latest building safety inspection. They just got a copy today of that. What's
Well, I don't
position?
imagine the board would make a decision based solely on a single inspection report showing that there's a plumbing violation. The board, you guys need to look at the statute, you guys need to look at the application that's presented, look at the big picture here regarding, compliance with the city statute code, so forth, and basically make your decisions there. I know the record is replete with pretty much everything that has been going on at this property since its last special permit was denied. Most relevantly, that it's continued to operate for the past upwards of 6 months. And I think you should go through the record, go through what's presented, go through the application that has been presented by the applicant. It seems substantially similar to the application that was previously denied in July. And except with the exception of the increased number of residents, is there anything else significantly different that you guys can bring forth to the table, or at least draw the board's attention to from the previous application that was denied in July?
Well, the previous application that was denied in July was primarily based on the fire escape inspection report, which we provided to you. There were no violations at that time, other than that.
I believe it does outline the
I don't want to get into the litigation stuff, but has there been any ruling with the court in this interim period as to the operations, whether there's a stay or?
There is no stay.
Judge Schreiber denied the city's motion. for-
Judge Schreiber basically said that the city may take whatever actions appropriate under the law with regard to this, but did not issue an order himself one way or the other, ordering them to close at this time. But that was just with regard to the city's request for the preliminary injunction. The case itself is pending, and the judge has not made a decision. I believe it's still in the discovery phase, to my understanding.
The only order he really made was that the occupancy level has to remain, you can't have new residents.
What was that occupancy level of the court now?
Whatever the register we gave to the corporation council, whatever that number was.
If you'd like, I'll pull up the
I don't know if it's
order.
41,
If that's
45,
something that you.
I mean, I don't mean exactly, we have an estimate, we like 20s, 30s, 40s.
No, it's in the 40s. Like 41 or 45, one of those two.
The planning board's empowered under the zoning statute to look at site plans, special use permits. There's, statutory criteria that you are to look at. You are to review what, has been presented by the applicant. In cases such as this, review the history and the current, state of what has happened in the period of time since 6 months ago. There was non-renewal and revocation of the permit. Particularly, you have the statute in front of you. You look at
This is 360.
the grounds for which you would either approve or deny a special use permit are outlined in the statute. They're also reflected in the state law, which is the base. And those are really the considerations that the board should be taken.
Well, for me, we both have different positions here. We come to that conclusion, okay? That's the way it is. For me, I'm looking at this as a new application, as we should be looking at it that way. Yes, you've received a copy of the building safety report just today, but there's still some violations that exist. It also continues to operate illegally since the last special permit was denied. And one of the big things for me is that your current application is going to significantly exceed what the current codes allows for occupancy of the building for a boarding house. Okay, again, these are differences of opinion, right? You got your position and I've got mine. There seems to be some pushback on the pool operation too. I know that's an ancillary use of the property, but seems to be some button at the heads with that as well. And also, property manager cannot be a resident. There's other issues in here that I've got, but those are the ones that really jump out at me. I don't know how the rest of the board feels about this. Open it up to ladies and gentlemen of the board.
kind of agree with what your assessment is.
I mean, we have some notes here. I mean, I don't know if other things jumping out at you.
The occupancy thing is probably a big one. It's an issue.
Well, I think we should go over each one of the things that are jumping out individually, let us fix it.
Okay. I mean,
I couldn't hear what you said, I'm sorry.
he's talking about discussing individually the things that are jumping out at the board.
I mean, I think we've discussed every one of those items tonight. My position, your position, the board's position, the court counsel's position.
I mean, for me personally, based on what I've just discussed and put forth, I'm inclined to deny the application. How does everybody else feel? Yeah, we're basing it on the current code too. This is a new application.
So the occupancy limit in the current code is the same as it was on the 405B2. When this board approved the special use permit for it.
I understand what you're saying, but again, I'm saying that this is a new application.
Okay,
And that's one of the conflicts that both sides.
no, I understand it's a new application.
So we should read it first, and then it's second. Yes, for a second.
Yes.
All right, I have before me a resolution of the City of Kingston Planning Board for denying the renewing of this, excuse me, it should not be a renewal.
No, it should not be renewed.
That's in for using there too. All right, I have before me a resolution of the City of Kingston Planning Board denying the special permit application for number 106 West Chestnut Street, section block and lot 56.34-11-22. Whereas Chestnut Hill NY Incorporated, in parentheses, the applicant submitted an application to the City of Kingston Planning Board for a special permit pursuant to section 405.26 E2 of the City of Kingston form-based zoning code to operate a boarding house located in two existing buildings on the grounds of 106 West Chestnut Street, section block and lot 56.34-11-22. And whereas the property was previously granted a use variance and area variance by the Zoning Board of Appeals on October 11th, 2018, which provided in relevant part that the applicant, in quotes, the applicant is granted a use variance to operate a boarding home in accordance with the special permit provision applicable in the R2 zone on such terms and conditions as approved by the planning board. The applicant is further granted a variance from such requirements set forth in section 405-12B2 and section 405-12, parens 3, as deemed appropriate by the planning board, unquote. And whereas the ZBA determined that the code reasonably requires an operator of a boarding home to secure a special permit and squarely places jurisdiction over special permits in the planning board, and whereas the ZBA determined that by granting a variance to operate a boarding home, but deferring to the planning board's more general authority to issue a special permit and, quote, take into consideration the public health, safety, and welfare, unquote, and prescribe, quote, appropriate conditions and safeguards, unquote, to achieve the objectives under the statute. And whereas the applicant was granted a use variance to operate a boarding home in accordance with special permit provisions applicable and on such terms and conditions as approved by the planning board. And whereas the applicant was further granted a variance from such requirements set forth in section 405-12 as deemed appropriate by the planning board in its consideration and determination regarding the application for a special permit. And whereas the applicant previously submitted an application for a special permit under cover letter dated November 28th, 2018, for the operation of a 39-bed boarding home, providing room and board and temporary shelter services to residents of the community. And whereas in February 2019, the applicant provided floor plans for the main residence showing three floors with 11 bedrooms, not including the office/bedroom, and carriage house showing 2 bedrooms, and identifying a total of 35 beds on the premises, not including the office/bedroom, with 29 beds in the main house and 6 beds in the carriage house. And whereas the applicant was approved for a special permit on April 16th, 2019, to operate the boarding house in accordance with the operation and floor plan submitted, and the terms and conditions set by the planning board. And whereas the applicant's special permit was renewed, subject to the original plans and conditions on a yearly basis from 2020 through 2022. And whereas the applicant's special permit was renewed, subject to the original plans and conditions on February 22nd, 2022, with the additional condition that a follow-up inspection by the Building and Safety Department would be conducted to verify that outstanding violations were addressed. And whereas applicant submitted an application to renew the special permit on February 22nd, 2023. And whereas violations of the building and zoning codes were noted by the Building and Safety Department on March 22nd, 2023, which included the following: the outstanding fire escape inspection/certification still needed to be completed by an engineer. Fire alarm system was not functional. A bedroom was in the basement, which was not permitted and was not in compliance with the building code. An additional bed was being used in the cottage that violated occupant spacing requirements. And fire extinguishers in the building had no tags and tags showing a 2017 expiration. And whereas on April 17th, 2023, the planning board passed a motion to give the applicant time to correct the violations prior to denying the permit for non-compliance. And whereas additional complaints were received on April 17th, 2023, noting discarded furniture on the curb at the premises, and on May 13th, 2023, noting additional fire hazards by the fire department, including the continued use of the illegal bedroom in the basement, egress stairwells being blocked, and a stove being utilized in the basement for heating clothing as a means of bed bug remediation. And whereas on May 30th, 2023, a fire escape condition report was submitted by the applicant, noting a diagonal bracing component had been cut 90% through, and a horizontal railing at the upper level landing is not securely fastened to the building. Submitted with the report were pictures of repairs applicant completed to address the problems noted in the report. No information or follow-up report was submitted by the applicant from an engineer certifying the structural adequacy, safety, and load-bearing capacity of the exterior steel fire escape in compliance with the Uniform Fire Safety and Building Code. And whereas on July 17th, 2023, the planning board denied the renewal of the applicant's previous special permit to operate a boarding house for failing to comply with the New York State Uniform Code, City of Kingston Code, and the conditions prescribed by the planning board in conjunction with the issuance of the original permit. And whereas on August 2nd, 2023, the City of Kingston repealed the entirety of the previous Chapter 405, City of Kingston zoning code, and adopted a new form-based zoning code as Chapter 405 of the City of Kingston Code. And whereas the applicant continued to operate a boarding house following the denial and revocation of the special permit on July 18th, 2023. Whereas on August 31st, 2023, the City of Kingston Building and Safety Department posted a notice on the premises specifying that the boarding house was operating unlawfully and the residents must vacate the property by September 29th, 2023. While posting the notice, additional violations were observed, including the absence of handrails or guardrails on the front porch stairs, as well as electric and masonry work being performed without a building permit. And whereas City of Kingston officials, including inspectors from the building department, went to the premises to perform inspections on September 6, 2023, September 8, 2023, and October 25th, 2023. The applicant denied entry and did not allow the officials to conduct inspections. And whereas from July 17th, 2023 to January 16th, 2024, while the boarding house continued to unlawfully operate, the City of Kingston Emergency Services, including the fire department and police department, received and responded to approximately 30 calls to the premises. And whereas the applicant's continued operation of the unlawful boarding house exceeds the number of residents which were allowed under the previous special permit. And whereas the applicant submitted the current application for a special permit to operate a boarding house on November 17th, 2023, consisting of the application page, checklist, seeker form, project narrative, deed, ZBA resolution dated October 19th, 2018, property description report, 2023 general tax bill paid, hand-drawn floor plans stamped April 15th, 2019, and resubmitted under new date of November 17th, 2023. Section of survey maps of lands to be conveyed to Louise P. Campos, dated September 29th, 1988. Section of a survey map, permitted no date, showing pool and photos. And whereas applicant appeared before the planning board on December 18th, 2023 on its present application for a special permit and was requested to submit updated floor plans, updated operations plan, completed short form EAF Part 1, and certification of fire escape as required for the application. And applicant stated that 45 residents were currently living in the boarding house and that possibly more had been staying there but were relocated. And whereas the applicant continues to unlawfully operate the boarding house following the revocation of its special permit and is operating in excess of the number of residents approved pursuant to its previous special permit, had routinely denied access to the premises for inspections and has undertaken work without building permits and modifications to permit conditions. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City of Kingston Planning Board as follows. Section 1. The board has thoroughly reviewed all documentation and public comment. Section 2, the board has determined that the applicant has not complied with the New York State Uniform Code, Kingston Building Code, the Code of the City of Kingston, and the conditions prescribed by the board in conjunction with the issuance of the original permit. Section 3, the board has determined that the intentional and blatant disregard by the applicant to comply with the City of Kingston Code following the denial and revocation of the special permit on July 17th, 2023, including the affirmative actions taken to prevent city officials from conducting inspections, poses a danger to the health, safety, and well-being of its residents and the residents of the City of Kingston. Section 4, the board votes to deny the site plan / special permit for a boarding home located at 106 West Chestnut Street, pursuant to its authority vested under City Code Section 405.26E. Section 5, this resolution shall take effect immediately. At this time, I will make a motion that we adopt this resolution to deny the special permit. Do I have a second? Second by Vince Archer. Wayne Platt is a yes. Charles Bellacco?
Yes.
Vince Archer?
Yes.
Robert Jacobson?
Yes.
Matthew Gillis?
Yes.
Okay, it is passed.
Can I just add something here?
Okay.
You didn't mention on January 10th that I submitted to the board updated operations plan, house rules, floor plan, EAF form, and an engineer inspection report for the fire escape dated August 14th, 2023. And that since this application was submitted, nobody from the city building department has ever been denied access to the building.
Okay.
Can we get a copy of that?
We'll just on the bottom here too.
Yeah, I can get you an unsigned copy, I can get you, I can email you a certified copy tomorrow.
That would be great.
Okay,
Thank you.
and that way you'll have the signatures.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Have a good night.
You too. Even though that applicant is not going to be here, because he's still, this is different applicants.
She would like to be present.
Okay.
The next applicant, she just texted me, she was stuck on the road. So she has requested we table her application, she's stuck in the road. She doesn't know when she's get here.
Okay, I'm going to read that into the record. Yeah. Under new business, Sue's talking about item number 365 South Wall Street. It's a major waiver request from section 405.16C to exceed maximum number of off-street parking spaces. Section block and lot is 56.124-5-13. Seeker determination zone T4N-O, Ward 5, LGL, NYRE LLC is the owner applicant. As Sue had mentioned, the applicant has requested that this item be tabled because she is unable to appear due to inclement weather. That's a motion. Second by Charles Palaka. All in favor? Aye. Table, all opposed? Carried. All right, you got that, sir? You got that back?
No, it's making this way that way.
Item number 4 is 55 Franklin Street, site plan to construct an addition on an existing building, installation of a geothermal systems, site work, and EV charging station, section block and lot, 56.92-3-8, seeker determination, Ward 4, Kingston Library is the applicant owner. Hi.
Hi, good evening. I'm Margie Menard. I'm the Executive Director of the Kingston Library. I'm passing down some drawings. I did show them digitally, but, and for those of you like me who can't see those teeny tiny ones, I did load them up on the phone pages. So as you probably know by now, we are looking to add a small addition to the Liberty Street side of 55 Franklin Street, Kingston Library.
And right behind, that's the shaded area.
Yes,
Okay.
shaded area up on the top of that drawing.
Okay.
On Liberty Street. So that area will enclose a ADA compliant stairwell and elevator. We do currently have interior stairwells and an interior elevator that have essentially been grandfathered and they're not truly ADA compliant. So that small addition will make the building truly ADA compliant. Because of that addition, we will be relocating the sanitary and water lines that sort of run directly under it now. They'll be coming around to the left. I think that's shown on some of the drawings. We're going to be putting a geothermal well under that, also that side of the parking lot on Liberty Street. As a result of creating a geothermal system for the building, we're going to be able to remove several air conditioning units from outside the building and remove and reduce the gas service to the building, which currently is on Franklin Street. We're going to be removing the large gas service on Franklin Street and moving it sort of into an alcove here that currently has air conditioning units.
I'm sorry, while you're up, where's the geothermal? Can you point to that?
Yep. Geothermal will be under this side of the parking lot here, on the Liberty Street side of the building.
How many wells again would you want?
20 wells?
21?
Yeah, so there's gonna be 20 wells under that side of the building.
How deep are they going?
500 feet? Does that sound right?
Is there like an access well for those, or how does that work?
What?
How does that work? Is it like an access well to get into the well, or are they just pipes right into the building?
They're piped.
Right
Yeah,
into the
piped right into the building, and you should have a room inside the building where all the controls are.
Yes, that will be on that same side of the building as well. We're gonna be adding 2 EV charging stations here. We're gonna be adding an additional handicapped accessible parking space here. We're gonna be keeping the 2 that are there. A couple of other things that we're gonna be doing. Right now, there's pavement right up to the building. We're gonna be removing some of the pavement around the building and adding a little bit of curbing to sort of create some traffic calming and some safety as traffic comes around the building, particularly over here. Right now, you can kind of come right around that corner of the building and it's not particularly safe. So we're bringing some curbing and some plantings out this way. So you kind of have to come out a little bit further and slow the traffic and make visibility a little bit better. I did put a sample dumpster enclosure on there. That was a question that we were asked last time we were here. We're going to be looking to create something that will echo our current perimeter fence and sort of make it blend in.
Are there any visuals for this edition? Are there any visuals for this edition?
We did.
From an old submission, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same.
They're the same thing.
Discussion?
While we're waiting for that, the addition is going to be 2-story with some glass. There's going to be a glass comma between the current brick building and the addition. And the addition is going to be made out of block that will echo the current coins on the corners of the building, the granite coins. So it's going to have a granite look. It won't be brick or brick look. It will have a look similar to the coins on the corners of the building.
So there's an elevator in there and there's stairs, right?
Yeah.
Stairs go from parking lot level
Yes.
to first floor?
Yep.
Second floor?
Yep, and to the cellar.
And to the
Both,
cellar.
both the elevator and the stairs will
Gotcha.
serve all 3 floors. I'm happy to call out any other details or answer questions. I'm just not sure exactly.
I think we talked about, when you were presenting, that even though this, will be a new entryway, you're still going to retain kind of the prominence of the historic entryway, to Prospect Street, so.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That beautiful front entryway that people see now, really the main change we're going to make there, a couple of things. It's actually going to look nicer. There's some Bilco doors here now that will be removed and some air conditioning units over here that will also be removed. This ramp that currently comes from Prospect Street up to that beautiful old entrance is going to be narrower and more code compliant. Well, it will be code compliant. Right now it's quite wide and not code compliant. So that's going to be made narrower so that it's code compliant.
Is that entrance going to be used?
I believe it will be, because a lot of our traffic is pedestrian traffic, so they won't necessarily be coming in off of the parking lot. Certainly, we're going to get more traffic off, people entering off the parking lot. but that entrance will be used.
So if you
This has to
park,
go before it starts.
on,
It's courtesy. It's nothing that says each bottom.
That's Franklin
Frank,
Street.
so if you park at those parking spaces on Franklin, you would walk through the parking lot to the front of the building,
Yes.
and then in theory, you go through the front door.
Mhm.
But if they're not using that door, is there a sidewalk to get around to the other entrance
Well, it kind of lays, makes.
On the property?
in the front? Like, if I park down below and I walk up to the front, and that front door is closed, can I get to the other entrance? Is there a sidewalk, or what is all?
There's a Bluestone Plaza here, and then there's an access over here to the ramp and the stair. But there's no reason why that would be closed
Okay,
during business hours.
but you are doing a sidewalk around to the other entrance?
Nothing new.
This doesn't show that.
There is current,
Right here?
you're looking at the Liberty Street side of the building.
Correct, I guess I'm looking at that connection from the new entrance to the front of the building. Is there gonna be a sidewalk there at all for people?
There is a Bluestone patio.
But then are there two parking spots right there?
Those are,
No, around the corner.
No, right.
But then it stops. Yeah.
Yeah, the Bluestone patio just
Here, Mike.
plays out to the parking lot. What he's asking, Margie, is the spaces that are to the right of the new entryway right there, that there's no walkway in front of them to get to the door, correct?
this is actually, it's not two parking spaces. This is actually going to be a single handicapped accessible parking space. And yes, there will be space.
Oh, there will, okay.
Yes,
Is that meant to be accessed from the exterior too, or is that just an emergency exit to get out?
where am I looking?
On that, in that addition there?
No, that's,
Oh, no, that will
That's
be,
gonna be for people to park on that side?
absolutely, yep.
it's also gonna be like evening hour
Yes,
access.
that's gonna be-
And the rest of the library, when they might be using the community room, that entry is going to become the ingress and egress, so the library itself can be closed off on the interior. So the library space, where the books and all of that will be closed off, but then the community will have the ability to use the community space.
That's just my concern, because in that evening, let's say the front door is closed, because that goes in the library,
Right,
how does everybody on the bottom get around to that entrance without walking through the parking lot?
okay. Yeah, they would technically, yeah, they'd have to, for those couple of spaces, they'd have to walk through.
Yeah, they, over
around
here,
the Parking spot.
they'd have to
But can
walk.
that Bluestone patio be brought forward like we do on Broadway with a bump out, so then they could walk in back of those cars that are parked in that space and kind of delineate?
You mean here, right,
Yeah.
this
Like, you know,
area.
Even go forward and then go behind the cars. Where's the door to the entrance?
Here. At the,
To get into the new addition,
I don't
the
know.
door is on the
I'm just,
outside.
this is the door right here.
yeah,
Right
So if
there.
somebody's walking across at night, can this come out so they can walk straight across to get to the sidewalk? Without, you know what I'm saying? Is this correct?
I think they'd be more likely to walk close to the building.
Is this a sidewalk?
It's,
Not.
it's
just
not-
a space between the bump and the wall.
But is there room with these
Curb
spots to
stop.
make this a sidewalk? To get to the
The
entrance?
only-
I'm just trying to get people without
What
going.
is the depth of your parking? What's
Yeah, I
the
think
length
the
of
cars
your
would stick
parking
out there.
spaces? If you put a sidewalk in there, you push the parking space out into the driveway lane. And I don't, what is the length of the parking space? Is it noted? I can't.
I don't think it
Looking
is.
For a dimension. If it's 20
Right.
Land there.
or 18.
I don't have that one.
I mean, it might not be possible to do that.
I'm just,
I understand.
we're all about walkability, but that's just,
Well, yeah,
half the parking is not able to get to the entrance.
Yeah, it really is that piece of the,
Do you need those two spots?
it's actually one handicapped accessible spot before you get to the ramp and the stair.
That's not-
No, we were hoping,
Technically, they don't need it, no, the two are sufficient. Obviously, the library is considering their clientele, accessibility, the library is probably key.
I'm just thinking kids and parents pulling in, kids jumping out of the car, they're all running around the front. There's no place to get to the entrance. But that's something
if the
that we
library's-
dealt with on staff level.
90% of the time, they're going to be using, if they're parking here, they're going to be using this current entrance facing Prospect.
Right, but I think Robert's thought
Maybe
is
after
with
hours.
evening after hours. And, I think the majority of people would probably park on the opposite side anyway. But,
When you have a community gathering, people are gonna park there, they're gonna walk around and
yeah,
it's dark.
But they'll still be able to enter through that front entrance though.
No, they're closing that because that's the main library. You see the two big rooms that are under the main entrance on the top?
Yep.
Those are community rooms. So in theory, they can split the library in two.
Gotcha.
I can certainly go back to our group and ask them, how we
I
can.
mean, I think that's just some
Create
staff level,
access.
just for safe passage.
I do want to maintain that handicapped spot there, because our current handicapped spots, while they're pretty easily enter from this ramp here, we wanted to move something closer to our
Now,
new handicapped.
those two ramps, if somebody pulls into those ramps, they have to go through the front door, correct?
That would be the,
Otherwise, they're going to the parking lot to get to the other entrance.
right.
Or you could lose a spot and then turn that parking spot 90 degrees. And have the sidewalk that you're,
It's an interesting one.
I think
Use the sidewalks, use that on
lose one
sidewalk.
of the handicap spots.
Yep,
And then put the sidewalk around and then turn the remaining handicap spot
here,
90 degrees.
yeah,
so the stall would enter this way?
well, yeah,
Just
I
something to
mean,
think about.
you've got with your one-way traffic flow, it would be a back-in kind of thing where, they
A
don't.
lot of people have vans, I mean, they do that up at Sam's Club, they're all sideways.
Yeah, and you could actually use the inside or the outside space as your shared public access. You could do public access and handicap access. A bit, I think, bit one and a.
People that step level.
Is that Bluestone Plaza, it looks like there's some sort of plant
Right at that corner.
in the way to get to the sidewalk that we're. I'm just looking at this, I'm not sure.
I think it's the same one.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a tree or shrubbery.
What, on this side of the,
But juts out from the building.
what's next to the building there, to that
That's
access?
that's a dock.
Is that a walk,
There's
is
a
it a walkway
bench
or
right there.
just
No,
grass?
parking spots.
In the, yeah, but I think you can walk around it. I mean, I've walked that way.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
She alluded to the fact that there's a walk, some path that they could take, no, on the top, behind that handicap spot.
Behind it, it's
No, towards the building side,
here,
yes,
it's just a space between the bumpers and the
just
building.
but it's not,
Okay.
it's not a sidewalk width.
No.
Okay, it's just, like
So
if you
when you-
put a bumper for car stop,
Yeah,
wheel stop,
yeah.
a
But is
a
it,
parking spot so that you don't hit the building.
right,
That's
but is
basically
it
what is.
36? What's the requirement for?
No, it wouldn't be.
Oh,
I would just say let them go back to their site person and deal with it on staff level, but somehow see if they can incorporate a pedestrian way to get to that main entrance for the hours. But I have a feeling that when they get up and running, the front is gonna be closed. Or the-
So your
that
concern
side.
is that they have to walk around?
They gotta walk
handicap
out, they gotta
spot?
walk out into the parking lot, and the handicap people that are in those two spots have to go out to the parking lot behind cars to get to the entrance.
It's not a whole lot different than it is now, though, right? I mean, right now, you would be parking in, let's say, these spaces over here, and you would be walking
Where you're walking
You know,
straight, you're
you're
looking both
walking.
ways and you're going straight across.
Yeah,
through,
yeah, yes.
then you would be walking through the parking lot to get to the front door now.
Yeah, but they'd be going inside. Side's not gonna be closed.
Right,
Yeah.
but I'm saying,
I don't know,
Okay,
it's
so-
whatever.
I hear what you're saying, and I'd like to go back to our architect and see if they can create a design that will do what you're asking.
And like Robert said, that, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to come back here, but when you talk to your, you can handle this at staff level and, see if that something can be accomplished there, that's all.
Sure.
You just put so much work into the whole design outside that.
And we genuinely hope that those after-hours times will be used. That was,
Oh, yeah, I mean,
One
most
of our
libraries are, after
motivators.
hours. People are done with work and they have programming and,
yeah.
it's important, but it is
Just
just
need
nice
supper
art.
too.
I understood, yeah.
So, but your suggestion was just rotating the handicap spot, making an access path in there.
Yeah, it was-
That's the easiest.
but they have experts. I'm not.
Good. More on
Overall, it's a great project, though, I'll tell
It's
you.
great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
We're very proud of it.
How's things working out on Brown Street?
We're missing our building at Franklin Street, but as far as where we could have landed, no complaints.
And what's the estimated end date, you think?
Early 2025,
Yeah.
15 months or so.
Good.
Good luck with that.
Any other?
Any other questions? We still got to do seeker, just another little formality. Any other questions from the board on that? All right. Thank you. I'm gonna take care of this first and then. Thank you. Okay. Under seeker, this is an unlisted action, so a determination of environmental significance will need to be rendered. To have before me a short environmental assessment form that staff indicates is in order. At this time, I'll make a motion that we approve it. Second by Matt Gillis. Wayne Platt is a yes. Charles Palacco,
Yes.
Robert Jacobson, Matt Gillis,
Yes.
Vince Archer.
Yes.
That is approved. All right, and one more thing.
One more thing.
Yeah.
I was just a secret.
Oh,
sorry.
All right, so at this time, I'll make a, you want to school, okay? All right, I'll make a motion that we approve item number 4 with the following policies and conditions. 4 policies, 4A, 6, 7, 12, 19, 23, 25, and 26. Conditions are approved with board policies above as presented with yeah, you guys, now it becomes a,
Ready?
a,
To attempt to, we'll work to incorporate a pedestrian pathway, see if the design can be adjusted at staff level to prevent walking through drive lights.
okay, so that is a motion. Robert Jacobson with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, under old business, item number 5, 79-83 Green Street. I'm sorry.
I'll introduce you right away.
It's a site plan / special permit to operate a boarding house and multifamily residence, section block lot is 56.90-4-14. Seeker determination, transect zone is T5N, Ward 2, Yukon Management LLC is the applicant. The applicant has requested that this item be tabled tonight.
Yeah, he did go to the zoning, he tabled it last month, he was going to the zoning board of appeals at the ZBA, he indicated that he would be withdrawing that variance request, and he did table it pending a formal submission of that withdrawal. So he submitted a request to us to postpone the application until further notice. We're going to table tonight, and we're going to advise him that he should come next month. He will still need even without variance, he will still need a special permit for the existing boarding house units without variance. So we'll advise him of that. He has submitted an operating plan, so please, that's in the notes. Take a look at that. If you have any questions on it, that will be applicable to his boarding house, let us know in advance of next month's meeting. So there's a motion to table.
Yes, a motion tabled, a second by Robert Jacobson, all in favor? Aye, opposed, carried.
And just very quickly, we have a new Ulster County Planning Board representative for the city. And patiently sitting back here, just observing. Want to introduce yourself, say hello, this is the board.
My name's Howard Sullivan. I've been here for 3-4 years next month. And I come from Long Island and I've been involved with historic places and all sorts of things. I have a technology business. I'm kind of semi-retired, still running the business, but I wanted to do something for the city. I volunteered to work with the city and represent the city at the board, the Ulster County Board. So I came here tonight because I want to learn more about this board so that when I do go to the Ulster County Board, I have your feelings, the city's feelings in mind, and so that I can bring back information that might be relevant to everybody. So thank you for allowing me to step in.
So
Pleasure meeting
he's
you.
serving with Lee Molyneux is our other county representative that sits on the county planning board. So when we refer, those are our reps.
Well, the county does weigh in on a lot of our projects, and, we take a lot of their recommendations that apply to our applicants. But I hope you don't take offense when you override your decisions.
Well, you see, it has nothing to do with me. I'm just, to be honest, I'm just going to be an observer for the most part and carrying information and responding based on.
And that was tongue in cheek, by the way. That was, yeah.
When you're a city representative on the county planning board, you do not vote on the city referrals.
So anything to do with
You'll be
Kingston.
voting on all of the other town referrals, but not on the cities.
But we can
So you
underline
can
the self-criticism.
answer
I will say that, I've been on the board now around 13 years, Wayne's been on for pushing 20 or more. And Lee Reinhardt, or Lee Malmo, rather, was our planning board chair for 20 some odd years he was on the board. And he is just a wealth of information. So
I haven't had the pleasure to meet him yet.
he's a wonderful guy, but you'll learn a lot from him. He's very well versed and spent many years on planning boards.
But even though you don't have to
He
get
gets
the
a
phone
red light too.
stuff that comes through the city, you still can weigh in and comment. I mean, that may not be- That's- you gotta just-
It really. So everybody here.
Actually, you post it now.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
So, I'm Wayne Glass. And we have the vice chairman over here, Charles Baraco. And we have Robert Jacobson, he's a full voting member, Matt Gillis, Vince Archer, Sage Newkirk is over here, and Andrew Harris. And then the other missing alternate, Kyra Grundy, she couldn't be here tonight. And you've met Sue, right?
Yes.
Matt Janikowski is our assistant corporation counsel.
Corporation now.
Yeah, and then
Is that the chief?
this is the fire chief over here. He is requested to show some Chris Gregg.
Nice to meet
So he appears sometimes. We have some pretty significant applications that come
I think
through.
we, you and I met.
Yeah,
When I came.
Absolutely.
any other business before this board?
Yes, I'm in her office, yeah.
Okay, motion to adjourn, and do I have a
I
second?
met.
Second by Charles Palaco, all in favor? Aye, opposed, carried.